Welcome back to CrimePod Castle, our Unsolved Mystery series.
Yes.
This is episode 12.
Wow, episode 12 already?
I know, right? And today we're diving into a case
right.
from India.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we're going to Pune,
Okay.
a city that I think is known for, like, energy and innovation.
Yeah, it's a big tech hub, right? Yeah.
Lots of, like, software companies and stuff.
Yep.
But this case, like any place, it has its darker side.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the story of Nayana Pujari,
Okay.
a young software engineer,
All right.
whose life was tragically cut short back in 2009.
2009, okay.
And this story, it raises like so many questions about, safety and justice. Those responsibilities we all share, I guess.
Yeah, and what makes it really, really kind of stick with you is that it started with such ordinary actions.
Yeah.
Nayana was only 28.
Okay.
And she left work late one evening,
Mm-hmm.
called her husband, said she was heading home.
Right. And, I mean, these are all decisions that many of us make every day.
Yeah, without even a second thought.
Right, exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
I'm leaving work, I'm going home,
Yeah.
And she hailed an auto rickshaw.
Right, which is like, a common way to get around in India.
Super common.
Yeah. And then, well, she vanished.
It's that chilling ordinariness, I think, that really gets to me.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been any of us leaving work late,
Yeah.
just trying to get home.
Right.
And it shatters that like sense of safety we have in our routines.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? Her husband, he reported her missing, right?
Yeah, he did. As the hours went by and she didn't show up, his worry, it just grew and grew.
Right.
And it turned into, just a terrifying reality.
Yeah.
He contacted the police, obviously fearing the worst.
Yeah.
And tragically, his fears were confirmed the next day.
Oh, no. When they found Nayana's body
Oh.
in a secluded area on, like, the outskirts of Pune.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a missing person case.
Right.
That quickly turns into something far more sinister.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about, like, the crime scene and the initial investigation?
Well, the details they're disturbing.
Okay.
She had been brutally assaulted,
Oh, gosh.
robbed, and left to die.
Oh,
The brutality, it sent shockwaves through Pune.
I bet.
Yeah, it wasn't just some like random act of violence.
Yeah.
It was calculated. It was callous.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that her debit card was used
Okay, yeah.
after the attack,
Yeah.
that suggested a level of like premeditation.
Right.
It made the whole thing even more chilling.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
It's the kind of case that, like, sticks with you, the fear that it generates.
Yeah.
The police had to be under immense pressure to find whoever was responsible.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
What were the early leads in the investigation?
So the investigation very quickly focused in on Yogesh Raut.
Okay.
He was a cab driver
Okay.
who had, occasionally driven for Nayana's company.
Okay, so they weren't just targeting anyone.
Right.
It seems like they may have known Nayana, at least to some degree.
Right.
So that adds, a whole other layer of complexity.
Yeah.
And frankly, like, terror
Yeah.
to the situation.
Yeah, it's scary.
But if they had a suspect, why was this case labeled unsolved?
Well, this is where the story takes a pretty shocking turn.
Okay.
Yogesh Raut, the prime suspect in this brutal crime,
Yeah.
he escaped police custody.
Wait, are you serious? He escaped.
He escaped.
Oh, my gosh. Imagine the outrage and the fear that just swept through the community, especially for Nayana's family.
I can only imagine.
I mean, their daughter's murdered, and now the prime suspect's on the loose.
Right, exactly. It's devastating. It adds like another layer of trauma to this already horrific tragedy.
Yeah.
And, the escape really cast a long shadow over the whole case. It raised questions about, police competency.
Yeah.
And it just intensified the demand for justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet that escape made it even more difficult to get any answers.
Oh, for sure.
So let's unpack that a little.
Okay.
How did Nayana's family, how did they cope with this unimaginable loss
Yeah.
compounded by the suspect's escape? Did they just give up hope for justice?
No, absolutely not. In fact, if anything, the escape seemed to fuel their determination.
Really?
Yeah, they refused to let her memory fade. They
Wow.
refused to let her case be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
For them, the fight for justice had just begun.
That's incredible. I mean, most people, I think, would just be crushed by the weight of such a tragedy.
Right.
What did their fight for justice look like? What actions did they take?
Well, they became like tireless advocates.
Okay.
They really wanted to raise awareness about Nayana's case and,
Right.
and about this broader issue of women's safety in India. They organized protests. They gave tons of interviews.
Yeah.
And they just kept the pressure on law enforcement, to find Ra. They refused to let the investigation go cold.
That's amazing. I mean, they turned their grief into action.
Yeah.
Into a force for change.
Yeah.
It must have been, I mean, an incredibly difficult journey.
Oh, for sure.
Constantly reliving the trauma.
Yeah.
But at the same time fighting for justice.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. For 4 long years, they never gave up hope.
Wow.
They kept Nayana's story alive. Reminding everyone that this wasn't just a statistic. This was a real person with a family who loved her dearly. And their persistence, I think it was just a real testament to the strength of their love for her.
4 years is a long time.
It is.
To keep up that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to imagine the despair they must have felt at times.
Yeah.
Were there any moments where it seemed like justice might slip away?
I mean, there were definitely setbacks.
Yeah.
Leads went cold.
Right.
False hopes were raised and then dashed.
Yeah.
And the constant delays in the legal system, I mean, those are incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, of course.
But even in the darkest moments, Nayana's family never wavered.
Wow.
They drew strength from each other, from the community that rallied around them, and from that unwavering belief that she deserved justice.
It's a powerful story of resilience.
It is.
And determination.
Yeah.
And then after 4 years on the run, there was a break in the case, right?
Yes. In 2013, Yogesh Raut was finally recaptured.
Okay.
In Shirdi, Maharashtra. Oh, wow.
And it was a major victory, obviously, for Nayana's family.
Yeah.
And for everyone who had been following the case.
Right.
It reignited hope that justice might finally be served.
It must have been a huge relief for them.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing that the man suspected of taking Nayana from them was finally, back behind bars.
Right.
But the fight wasn't over, was it?
No, not at all. I mean, the recapture, that was just one step.
Right.
In a long and complex legal process. I mean, you have the trials, the hearings, the appeals.
Yeah.
It's a system designed to ensure fairness.
Of course.
But it can also be excruciatingly slow.
Right.
Especially for a family that's, desperate for closure.
So they had to endure years of legal proceedings.
Yeah.
Reliving the details of Nayana's murder over and over again.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the emotional toll that must have taken.
It was undoubtedly a grueling experience.
Yeah. But, Nayana's family never lost sight of their goal, which was to hold those responsible accountable for their actions.
Right.
And, they remained active participants.
Okay.
In the legal process, attending every hearing.
Wow.
Ensuring that their voices were heard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to imagine the strength it took to keep showing up year after year.
Their commitment is truly inspiring.
It is.
And then finally, in 2017, almost 8 years after Nayana's murder, the verdict came.
Yeah. Yogesh Raut and his 2 accomplices were found guilty.
Wow.
And sentenced to death.
Oh, a death sentence.
Yeah.
That's a rare and weighty decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
What factors contributed to such a severe punishment?
Well, the judge cited the brutality of the crime, the premeditation involved, the attempted cover-up, and the impact it had on Nayana's family and the community. It was a very clear message that these kind of acts of violence, they would not be tolerated.
It must have been a complex mix of emotions.
Oh, yeah.
For Nayana's family.
For sure.
Relief, grief.
Yeah.
A sense of justice finally being served.
Absolutely. while obviously nothing could bring her back,
Right.
the verdict did bring, I think, a sense of closure to this long and painful chapter in their lives.
Yeah.
But it also, highlighted something really crucial about this case.
What's that?
It wasn't just about one family's tragedy.
Right.
It became a symbol of a much larger issue.
You're talking about the issue of women's safety in India.
Exactly, yeah.
Nayana's case, especially because it involved, someone she knew through work.
Right.
Really shone a light on that, didn't it?
It did. I mean, her story sparked a nationwide conversation.
Wow.
About the vulnerability of women, especially those working late hours. And it forced people to confront this uncomfortable reality that even seemingly ordinary choices, like taking a cab home from work, could have deadly consequences.
It challenged the assumption, I guess, that women should just accept these risks as part of life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It became like a catalyst for change. People started demanding better security measures, particularly for women working in the IT sector where, late hours are common.
Right.
There were calls for, improved transportation safety, for companies to take more responsibility for the well-being of their employees. Yeah. And really for a broader societal shift in attitudes toward women.
So Nayana's tragedy, as horrific as it was, became a turning point.
Yeah.
A moment where people said, enough is enough. We need to make real changes to protect women.
Exactly. And Nayana's family, they played, I think, a really pivotal role in this movement. They didn't just seek justice for Nayana. They used their platform to advocate for systemic changes that would protect other women from suffering a similar fate.
They channeled their grief into action.
Yeah.
Turning a personal tragedy into a fight for a safer future for everyone.
Right.
It's a testament to their courage and their unwavering commitment to Nayana's memory.
It really is. And it speaks to a broader theme that emerges, I think, from Nayana's story. The power of individual voices. To create lasting change.
Even in the face of unimaginable loss.
Yeah.
There's the potential for hope.
Right.
For progress.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in building a safer, more just world.
Absolutely. Nayana's story, while tragic, is ultimately a story of resilience, of the fight for justice, and of the enduring power of hope.
It's a story that stays with you.
It does.
It prompts you to think about your own choices, your own community, and what you can do to make a difference.
Right.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to reflect on the bigger picture here. We've talked about the specifics of Nayana's case.
Right.
But what like broader lessons can we learn from this tragedy?
Yeah.
What does it tell us about the challenges women face, not just in India, but around the world?
I think it really underscores the fact that violence against women is a global epidemic.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it transcends borders, cultures, socioeconomic backgrounds.
Right.
And, Nayana's story, while it's rooted in a specific context, I think it resonates with countless other stories of women who have faced, harassment, assault, or worse.
Yeah.
Simply for being women.
It's a sobering reminder that we still have a long way to go in achieving true equality and safety for women.
Yeah.
So how do we move forward?
Right.
What concrete steps can we take to create a world where women can live without fear?
Well, I think it starts with education.
Okay.
Awareness.
Right.
And a fundamental shift in attitudes.
Yeah.
We need to challenge the deeply ingrained societal norms that perpetuate gender-based violence.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to teach boys and men about respect, consent, and healthy masculinity. And we need to empower women and girls to speak out against harassment and abuse.
Yeah, and it's not just about changing individual attitudes.
Oh no, absolutely not.
It's about systemic change as well.
Right. We need to strengthen laws, improve law enforcement responses to violence against women, and really hold perpetrators accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
We need to create safer public spaces,
right,
provide better support services for survivors, and invest in prevention programs. It's a multifaceted challenge. It requires a comprehensive approach.
It sounds daunting.
Yeah.
But I think Nayana's story also offers a glimmer of hope. It shows that even in the face of such tragedy, individuals can make a difference.
That's right. I mean, her family, through their tireless advocacy, they helped to spark a movement.
They did.
Yeah, and they turned their grief into action.
Yeah.
Raising awareness, demanding change, and ultimately contributing to a safer society for women. Their story, it's a testament, I think, to the power of one voice, one family, to make a lasting impact.
So if there's one takeaway that you hope our listeners carry with them from this deep dive, what would it be?
I think it would be this: never underestimate the power of your own voice. Whether it's speaking up against injustice, advocating for change, or simply offering support to someone who needs it. Your actions, they can make a difference. And Nayana's story, it reminds us that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope. And there's always something we can do to create a better world.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of CrimePod Castle's Unsolved Mystery Series.
Yeah.
We hope Nayana Pujari's story has resonated with you and has sparked some important conversations.
Absolutely. Remember, change starts with awareness, with conversations, and with a collective commitment to creating a more just and equitable world for everyone.
If you found this deep dive thought-provoking, please consider subscribing to CrimePod Castle for more captivating and important stories.
Yeah, we explore a wide range of true crime cases.
We do.
Delving into, the complexities of justice, the human impact of crime, and the ongoing quest for a safer world.
We release new episodes every week, so hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
And join us as we uncover more gripping tales and explore the issues that matter most.
And don't forget to share this episode with your friends and family to continue the conversation about the important issues raised in Nayana's story.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe. Thank you for listening.